boxing, but I had to come watch the Spence Ugas fight. That was a hell of a fight. That was a hell of a card. You know, it was an exciting card, especially the fight before. Cruz versus Ugas Gamboa. I'm from Miami, so I'm a big Gamboa fan, but, you know, Gamboa was, you know, he showed his age, you know, but Gamboa, even with the Crawford, even with the Devin Haney, Gamboa has been, the last 4 or 5 fights, he's just been, you know, just been thrown out there, you know what I'm saying? But Gamboa, 6, 7, 8 years ago, when Juanma Lopez was in the mix, he was fast, explosive, dominating, hands down, had the speed to compensate, had the endurance, had the agility, and had the explosive power. He was still explosive power, but he's always had the habit of fighting with his hands down. You know what I'm saying? But back then, his reflexes were there that he's able to counter, he's able to capitalize. But last night against, you know, the Pitbull Cruz, he got exposed. Not that really that he got exposed, but I have to take that back. He really didn't get exposed. He was always used to fighting with his hands down. And Pitbull did what he had to do. You know, he fought the right approach, right game plan out the gate. Even when he went and Tank Davis, he brought the fight. He brought the fight to Tank Davis. He did what he had to do. Throwing, just smothering him with bombs, you know, aggressive. There was a lot of physicality there, throwing each other around, and that's a wear and tear, especially if Gamboa is 40 years old. You know, all that rough and tough and throwing that clinch and stuff like that, that's gonna take a toll on you. You know, and there was times where Gamboa had to bring the fight, but he couldn't do that for 3 minutes a round. Couldn't do that for 3 minutes a round. And Gamboa looked good, you know, being able to time, stay out of range, and was able to see Cruz, a lot of Cruz's Hail Marys that he was throwing out there, just big ass punches, and he was able to, but eventually them things got caught to him as far as timing, getting in. And Pitbull Cruz was throwing a shitload of punches. But it got dropped, you know. I think it was coming in the 5th round, they stopped it. Got dropped 4 times, kept getting up. Gamboa kept getting up, showed some heart, showed some speed, showed some explosiveness. But, you know, Pitbull Cruz, you know, he reminded me of Lamont Peterson. He reminded me of Sean Porter. He reminds me of Marcus Madonna, where those styles make fights. And those type of fighters, like Sean Porter, he'll give anybody problems. Lamont Peterson back in the day gave anybody problems. Look at the Lamont Peterson versus Amir Khan. Amir Khan, fast, explosive, but Lamont Peterson was able to catch him. Even though I thought he got robbed in DC, but still, that's besides the point. Even Marcus Madonna was like Pitbull Cruz. You know, he comes in, you know, look what he did to Adrian Broner, AB. Look what he did to Mayweather. You know, not many fighters can take that pressure, that constant onslaught of flurries, and at any moment, any time, and if you're not on guard, if you're not on point, you don't have them hands up, that's lights out. But what's next for Pitbull? You know, the only fight, just like Spence versus Crawford, the only fight I want to see is Ryan Garcia. And De La Hoya wants to talk all he wants to talk. He can tweet whatever he wants to tweet, but I like what Cruz said. He was just like, look, man, it's all talk. There's no contracts. Let's not talk on social media. And Ryan Garcia has the habit of doing that. He waits to Tank to fight. He waits to Cruz to fight. He waits to all these people to fight before he starts tweeting. His last fight, he looked like shit. Nothing against Garcia. I think he has a lot of talent. He has a lot of potential. But I think his mouth is bigger than his skills at this point. You know, and then he wants to be young. Last week he was sitting there saying, you know, being composed, you know, that's a childish thing. I don't want to call any fighters out. You know, I'm gonna leave it up to my managers. And then what do you do as soon as Cruz fights, bro? You start calling and start talking shit. You start talking shit, man. And that's the shit right there that just gets to me, Ryan. That's the only thing. And, you know, I'm all about fighters talking shit, but at the end of the day, skills pay the bills. He does have the skills, but he hasn't paid his dues, man. You know, don't talk shit and then not take on, especially you haven't took on the top contenders out there. You haven't, dude. And Cruz is calling you out. And I think Cruz right now, where your career lies, in your career path, not that I'm a matchmaker or anything like that, but De La Hoya knows it, man. De La Hoya has to put you out there, or you're going to lose a fan base. You're going to lose credibility. Because right now, Cruz is the bottom of the barrel. You know, you don't want Tank Davis, but you call Tank Davis out. You don't want Devin Haney, but you call Devin Haney out. Cambosas, Teofimo, You sit there and talk all that shit and you don't want to fight these guys whatsoever. Lomachenko, Loma, you don't want that smoke either, bro. So you got Lomachenko, you got Teofimo, you got Tank Davis, you know what I'm saying? You got Cruz, you got Cambosis, but Cambosis is fighting Haney, which that's going to be a great fight. Who are you going to fight, dude? You got to fight Cruz, man. Stop talking all that shit and fight somebody, man. You got to fight Cruz. And, you know, putting it on social media doesn't mean anything. And like Cruz said, you got to send the contract, bro. De La Hoya can sit there and say all the fuck he wants to say. I offer you $1 million. That's he said, she said, man. That's he said, she said. You got to show the goods, man. Just like this right here. I can talk about grilling all day, but unless I show the goods, that's pretty much it. And that's exactly what you got to do, man. You got to send the contract, because everything else is all talk. It's all talk. It's all talk, man. But the good thing about it is, Cruz got a chance. Cruz got a chance. Cruz got a chance, man, in that fight. That's going to be a good-ass fight. That's going to be a good, I don't even want to say it's a stepping stone. That's a great test. That's a great test. And the winner of that fight, possibly, if not Tank Davis, the winner of that fight, takes on the winner of Haney and Cambosis. That's a great fight. Or takes on Teofimo, if Teofimo wants to go back, if he didn't move up in weight. Or takes on Lomachenko. Who knows? Nobody knows. But anyways, getting into the Ugas and Spence fight. That was, man, you can tell Ugas was hurt, man. Ugas was hurt. Spence came out the gate, working the body, that stiff-ass jab. I was speaking to George the Boxing Genius, and it just don't look like Spence is throwing much, but everything he throws has some thump to it, man. From his jab to his right hook to his uppercut to them devastating body shots. Even though Ugas he has a tight defense, but even at times you can have a tight defense, but you can't be a punching bag, man. You can't be a punching bag, and I think that's exactly what Ugas did. And Ugas had some success as soon as he started letting them hands go and literally caught Spence to the body, and it looked like it hurt Spence a little bit, but he had no follow-up with it. But I think Ugas was just completely out of his realm, man. I think under the lights, under the fame, everything that Spence was talking about, saying that, yeah, he's spending money or whatever, I think he was into himself. You know, his game plan wasn't there. You know, he didn't utilize the jab. It looked like he was hurt out the gate. Spence must have got to him, got to the body, because he was tight with his defense. He stood flat in front of Spence, and Spence was able to capitalize and do whatever he had to do. One thing I did like about Spence, even though Spence did mention, and there was times where he just threw punches and he was out of position, he was out of range, and he was missing a lot, and he was kind of forcing the action. But Ugas couldn't do anything, man. Ugas had nothing to respond, so it was able to compensate for that. But a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon, you know. Spence, I think it was an exciting fight. You know, I predicted that Spence was gonna, you know, come in and dominate Ugas, but I didn't expect Ugas to just sit there in the pocket and trade. And Spence said it: if he trades, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this fight. He called it. But anyone knows boxing and knows Spence. You're not gonna sit there and trade with him, man. You're not gonna do that. But that's what he did. So there's some shit there. There's some gray area. There's some hurt. There's some things that we just don't know about. There's something that we don't know about. But then again, a lot of people in the boxing community are already on the hype train. I know it seems like a Mayweather-Pacquiao situation, but not so much. A lot of people are all about Spence, saying that Spence is gonna do the same shit to Crawford. A lot of people, Crawford thinks that the Crawford fans in there, Crawford's gonna dominate Spence. But after this fight, a lot of people are sitting there saying that he's going to go ahead and do the same, if not worse, against Crawford. And I'm a Spence fan, man. I want to see Spence beat Crawford. But at the end of the day, like I always say, skills pay the bills. And Crawford ain't no motherfucking pushover. Crawford is not, you're not going to see Crawford like Ugas. You know, he has plan A, plan B, plan C. He could be unorthodox. He switches up from southpaw. You know, he goes back and forth. So he has a lot of tools, and he has a lot in his arsenal. You know, he's quick, he's fast, he's explosive, he can take a punch, he has angles, and he's patient, and his boxing IQ is on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? But he is receptive to get punched, but so is Spence. But one thing I did speak last night, Ugas did catch Spence with some body shots that that looked like it buckled Spence. So that could definitely be a concern for me coming into this fight, because Crawford will work the body, dude. Will work the body, and Crawford's built different, man. Built different, where he has more powers than Ugas, and we knew it. We knew coming into this fight, Ugas ain't gonna have that much pop, not that much power. We knew that coming into this fight. And we knew that the punching power is not going to be there. So Spence can sit there in the pocket and trade. But Crawford, he's faster, he's more explosive, and he has punching power. So you got to watch out for that bullshit. So Spence is not going to sit there in front of fucking Crawford in exchange. Because if not, it's going to be a short night for Spence. And vice versa, Crawford's not going to sit there in the pocket for Spence and trade, because it's going to be a short night for Crawford. So when I say it's a 50-50 fight, and all these people were sitting there saying, oh, you don't know shit, I'm like, bro, that is a 50-50 fight, because at any given time of that fight, it can be lights out for any little mistake, especially as far as coming into the game plan and the preparation into this fight. But one thing I do like about Spence, he did have all these month layoff, so hopefully we can see that fight at the end of the year, so he can do back-to-back camps. Because, whatever, people can say whatever they want to say, but this time off is going to show you ring rust. And right now, Spence can't afford any kind of ring rust versus someone like Crawford. So coming off this fight, coming off this camp, maybe he takes a couple weeks off and then gets back into the gym. Same thing with Crawford. Crawford hasn't been out too much, whatever, so he's in shape, he's ready to go, so the timing is right. The hype is there. Everything's there. I'm pretty sure they can put a massive undercard with PVC. Crawford's a free agent now. He's not under the top rank umbrella. So if he works with Al Heyman, gets that check, comes with negotiations, forget about the A side, B side, because yeah, I do consider Spence on the A side, but then again, ESPN, which is rigged up, does have fucking Crawford as the #1 pound for pound. I put him even, pretty even Steven, but a lot of people forget Crawford did come and dominate from the 140, so he did come up in weight and completely had all the belts, and he was completely fucking unified like Danny Garcia. You know what I'm saying? So once you clean house and you come up and you're still cleaning house and you're still world champion, that's a lot. That's like Spence cleaning house at welterweight, right? Moving up to 154. Grabbing some belts and shit like that, then yeah, you're gonna be top 3 pound for pound, bro. Hands down, you're gonna be top 3 pound for pound. You're gonna be respected, So I think it's a 50-50 fight, But the numbers don't lie. What do I mean by the numbers don't lie? Spence has that home crowd, and the pay-per-view numbers. Shit, if George the Boxing Genius and myself is willing to make a video about it, so is everyone else, and that shit, there's a lot of buzz there. So Spence has the fan base, he has the draw. So if I was to sit there and say who's going to get a bigger chunk, not too much of a chunk, but I would say 60-40 more towards Spence, just because he has the numbers, he has the fan base. If it goes 70-30, I think that's too much, and that fight's not going to happen. But 60-40, come on, man. And yo, Spence too, he had that OnlyFans on his trunk, so he got the check. That OnlyFans, let me find out he's on OnlyFans. That's some shit, man. But anyways, guys, this is Kenny's SB Unboxing. Happy Easter, many blessings. Hopefully we can see more fights, man. But boxing is getting a little more and more exciting, especially in the 135. 140's mixing it up too. 135 all the way to 160. Besides Canelo's going up. But anyways, see, I come up with more videos and stuff like that. Let me know what you guys think. You think Ryan Garcia is going to mix it up with Cruz? Do you think Spence and Crawford are going to get it on? I don't know. Or do you think Spence is going to get a fucking mandatory? Crawford's going to get a mandatory. WBA, WBO, mandatory. And then we're not going to see Crawford for another year. I don't know, man. I think the timing is right.